All right, so it looks like Pixels isn't the only movie on the way celebrating the old video games of the 80s. According to Deadline, Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson is going to star in a live-action version of Rampage. The original Rampage put players in control of one of three monsters: a giant ape named George, a giant lizard named Lizzy, or a giant wolf named Ralph. The game saw the monsters running amok across the United States, fighting the military and destroying key landmarks. John, what do you think about a live-action version of Rampage starring The Rock?
Oh my God. It so depends on the tone they want this thing to have, right? If they want to go a Pixels kind of tone, no. If they want to go like a hybrid between like a Pixels tone and a Godzilla tone, where it's like, no, these are like three scientific experiments that have now gone amok and we got to bring these things down, but also wink a little bit at the camera here and there. That could be really good. Having The Rock in there, this seems like the type of film that would be good for him. He would be a good fit for something like this. So once again, it's so hard to say without knowing the tone. If you try to go pure Godzilla tone, make it dark and serious, not going to work. You try to go Pixels Rel, where it's all just like silly and goofball-y, I don't think it's going to work. A hybrid between the two could. So we're just gonna have to wait to see what they think about it. Anyway, Dennis, what do you think?
Oh, I love it. I love the game. When I was a kid, I always used to go to the arcade and play. It was a co-op game. You could play any of the three guys. It was like being able to play King Kong or Godzilla or any of those guys.
Right.
And I think with The Rock, we just saw him lead a movie about like things getting destroyed that didn't really have a story. So that's what I'm assuming this is gonna be. And yeah, I think it's gonna be a good movie if they do what you're saying about the tone with like if they do a Pacific Rim type of thing. I think they could do well.
Oh, that's a better analogy. And there was a story to San Andreas. It was Alexander Daddario's bikini. That was the story of the movie. Anyway,
I think it's a great idea. I love the game Rampage. I used to play it all the time. I like to be the ape or Godzilla. The wolf guy was my least favorite. But the best thing about this is you're basically destroying buildings and eating people. And that's the entire game. You're just climbing and smashing buildings and punching them and jumping from building to building. And that's the whole game. So if The Rock is one of these three creatures, because you get transported back, you turn into a little human before you die. So I'm imagining that I could see this as War of the Gargantuas, and you have them doing suplex jumps off of buildings. I mean, you could like have three characters fighting each other. It could be a giant, really fun film. So.
See, that's interesting because my assumption has been The Rock will be the hero out to stop the monsters, but you're right. I mean, there is a possibility here. He could be one of the monsters.
They could bring two other big action stars in, and they transform into monsters and just destroy cities.
Oh my! The Rock, Jason Statham, and I don't know some other action star.
Statham, because in Crank 2, remember he was already a giant version of himself.
Yeah,
smashing
and
cities,
Jean-Claude Van Damme. There you go. There are your three monsters. But you know what, the way you described it too about you get to run around and eat people, destroy stuff. It reminds me. What's the big video game franchise where you get out of your car and you can beat up people and steal
Grand
cars?
Theft Auto.
Yeah, that's right. This is the Godfather of Grand Theft
really
Auto.
Is.
This is the beginning of Grand Theft Auto.